Welcome to another edition of Inside Career Technical Education. I'm one of the hosts, Jim Bologa, President and CEO of Porter and Chester Institute and YTI Career Institute. And my co-host, Ann Baldwin's not with me today, but I do have a guest, which I'm super excited to share with our podcast viewers. And that's Mr. Andy Cerrone. He's the director of our employer partnerships here at Porter and Chester Institute and YTI Career Institute. So, Andy, welcome.
Thank you, Jim.
All right. So why don't we get right into it? We've got some exciting things going on at both Porter and Chester Institute and YTI Career Institute, and I know we have a new section, if you will, on our website. So where we're offering some continuing ed courses and some self-development courses. So why don't we share with the podcast viewers what our new website is?
Sure. So the website is CE, as in continuing education, .porterchester.edu, and it's a great place to get some information about our continuing ed programs.
And so why don't we get right into it? What I know we've got, 8, 10, 12 different programs out there, or courses, I should say. Can you talk a little bit about what's out there on that website?
Sure. So the idea is basically that we can provide some basic education for people to continue as they develop in their career, as well as for folks that are looking for some additional help as they continue to get licensed in the fields that they work in.
Right. So I know that we've got some IT certifications out there. There's quite a few, and I know that certification is a big piece of the of that sort of education, continuing educational process in IT. You want to talk a little bit about that, and maybe just share with our podcast viewers a little bit more about those courses that we have?
So the trainings that we offer right now, particularly on the IT side, offer the specific education for certifications depending on which direction people want to take their career. So for some folks, they get into, say, IT, and they're not really sure where they fit in quite yet, and they'll have a general education. And as they start working, they might realize, this is one particular path I want to go down. And coming to one of our continuing ed courses online can give them that training to get licensed, or certified rather, in the things that they want to do, which can help quickly develop their career in a way that going to a traditional school might take too long, might cost too much money, and this is almost a shortcut in that process where they know exactly what they want to do. They don't need this extensive education. They just need this very specific training.
Yeah, no, I think that's again, I think that's part of the reason we're looking at this, where we can really help an individual, provide that self-development aspect of going through these shorter term courses, and I'm excited about that, because I do think that in the IT world in particular, it's ever changing, right? So every day there's a new piece of software, or there's some new technology that's working its way through our economy. So it's really super neat to see that out there for our potential students, customers. Let's talk a little bit now. Let's pivot a little bit and talk about, I do know that we do have a solar course out there, and maybe talk a little bit about the genesis of that course and how that's being offered, and maybe talk about just a couple of the features of that course.
Sure. So we are a NABCEP accredited trainer for solar, and there's actually a couple of different courses you can take through us, as well as a package that we offer that's the full training for PV solar installers. Now, by doing this, you're able to set yourself apart, because one of the things about the electrical field is that with solar, it's evolved really quickly over the last, say, couple decades. Mm-hmm. And a lot of folks that are traditionally even like journeymen, they don't have a lot of exposure to that solar. So as this industry has grown so quickly, even traditional licenses aren't fully reflective of someone's capacity to do solar type work. So these types of trainings offer folks that want to get into solar, they want to be involved with that more green energy industry, an opportunity to really stand out in a field that's growing very quickly, and to quickly kind of work their way into the leadership of that industry as it continues to evolve. And that program is completely online and asynchronous, with testing sites all over the country.
That's really cool. So again, so for all those, I guess, electricians out there potentially, right, that who are generally licensed in their trade in the various states, that's really kind of slick. Where this will work its way around the country, right? So anywhere in the country, you can go online and subscribe to this course, take this course, do the work. And get basically get credit, and then get the certification, and that separates you from your competition in their field.
Yeah, and it's a very short training program as well, which is really great. Even the full encompassing training that we offer, the full package is 48 hours.
Wow.
So it's not an extensive thing like you're here in Massachusetts, or where I primarily work in Massachusetts. There's 8,000 hours of education that's required to sit for your license.
Right.
This doesn't have that. Obviously, it's not as expansive as a journeyman's license,
Right.
but it does offer you a certain qualification over a lot of other candidates in the solar industry.
Right.
And even for journeyman, it's something that's really helpful because, like I said, as somebody that might have gone through and gotten their journeyman, your exposure to solar might still be almost nothing.
Sure.
While on paper you are qualified to manage a job, that doesn't mean you know what you're looking at.
Sure.
And this is something that can really step in for that.
Yeah, no, again, I think it's interesting to put it in perspective, right? So in order to get your journeyman's license, you got to have 8,000 hours of on-the-job training, and that's as an apprentice, and that. Because again, as a CPA, as a former, I'm a CPA for life, but as a CPA, you had to do the same sort of thing. You had to have so many hours of, depending on the state, hours of on-the-job training, and then you had to have your supervisor basically sign off on your hours, and then you could sit for or effectively sit for your exam. So that's really very interesting. So again, any electricians out there in the world, or in the U.S., I should say, who want to get maybe a little bit more expertise, could engage in 48 hours. It's not a lot of time. And again, just to explain what folks, to our podcast viewers, asynchronous learning is basically the material is pre-recorded. So again, there will be from time to time maybe a little bit of interaction, but a lot of this material is pre-recorded. So it's a self-paced. It's specifically designed to be self-paced so that you can work through this at your own pace. So if someone does have a question or needs some further clarification, they can reach out to us, and we can supplement that with some instructional, I guess, insight or tutoring. But again, I mean, this isn't meant to be, sort of like a full-blown, program where there's a faculty member dedicated to it. Correct?
Correct.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Fantastic. So what other programs or courses do we have out there on the Continuing Ed site that we want to share with our podcast viewers?
Sure. So one of the ones I'm really excited about is this vet tech dentistry program that we've put together. It's something we've heard a lot of employers reach out to us looking for this type of training, and it's something that we do in-house, but we were able to expand on it because we wanted to offer it as a standalone, whereas that extensive curriculum couldn't fit into our traditional calendar. In this space, we can spend the time that we want to really build it out to be fully encompassing for a spectrum of folks in the veterinary field. So folks are able to go in and get a really thorough understanding of all of the pieces and of veterinary dental. And that's something that we've had, like I said, a lot of employers reach out about. So.
Yeah. No, it's interesting. I often don't, I mean, I own a dog, but I often don't think about getting the dogs, worrying about the dog's dental hygiene. I guess I probably should. I do know that many years ago, I think we did have a dog, and I do think we had to bring him or actually we thought about bringing to get his teeth cleaned, but it was an interesting process in terms of going through that. So again, this would be for a veterinary technician or a vet nurse who might want to have a refresher course with regards to animal dental hygiene, correct?
Yeah, it would be for those folks as well as anyone in the periphery of the industry.
Got it.
That might feel that they need to understand this practice in more detail.
Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. That's interesting. So for all those animal lovers out there, that's an opportunity to learn a little bit more about that. Any other courses or programs that we want to talk about, or we hit the highlights?
Yeah, I think for now that's the highlights. I know right now, as you said, we have around 10 or 12 programs that are up and available.
Yep.
That list will be continuing to grow
Yep.
and expanding. We have a lot of stuff coming on board over the next year, which I'm really excited about. So it's definitely worth double checking periodically on the website, CE as in continuing education.porterchester.edu.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I would encourage our podcast viewers to, again, go to ce.porterchester.edu, and we're excited about this new, I'll call it course offering, because that's what it is. It's actually not a program per se, but they're courses that folks can take to continue their lifelong learning process. So with that, I'm going to wrap it up, and I want to say to Andy, thanks for sharing all your knowledge and insight. And I also want to thank all of our podcast viewers for tuning in to this edition of Inside Career Technical Education.
Thanks, Jim.